Hey guys, and welcome to another mystery box unboxing here at the Westfield Athenaeum. My name is Gretchen. I'm the digital services librarian, and normally I am on the other side of the camera. So this is weird. If you missed Teresa's first video, this is essentially where we, as a librarian and as a reader, give the other librarians at the Westfield Athenaeum what is called an RA, or Reader's Advisory Request. This is exactly what we do when you ask us to find books for you. So we give something to them and they find books for us, and then we unbox that box live on video so you can see our reactions and also what the fabulous folks here gave us in recommendation. So while Teresa went down the Gothic mystery path, then I'm on the other side. I asked my coworkers for a fantasy book. I gave them 3 books that I liked, which were A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouchette, and The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And then I gave them 3 descriptors of things that I wanted in the book. I said I wanted it to be humorous, I wanted it to be fast-paced, and I really wanted a strong female main character. For things that I didn't want, I told them that I didn't want any poor world building, and then I told them that they could pick these books either from the adult section or from the teen section, because I love to read both, and the books that I gave them were a little bit of both. So that is all the information that they got, and then they used the catalog and their amazing basis of knowledge to find me this wonderful box of books. So here we go. I have never seen what is in this box. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books in here. And I can tell you that people did a really awesome job, because 2 of the books in here I've actually already read. So one of the books in here is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that is YA, and it's amazing. It's so amazing that I went to meet the author at Book Expo America, and I waited in line for an hour to meet her. She is incredible, and I do highly recommend this book, but I've already read it. Okay, there's another one in here that I've already read, and that is Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. Curse So Dark and Lonely is book 1 of a trilogy that is completely published, and Seraphina is book 1 of a duology that's completely published, with a related book called Tess of the Road. I own, by the way, I actually own, as purchased, that book, and I also own this book and its follow-up. This is a book about a girl with dragon blood, so she's part dragon, and this is also really good. It's the kind of classic dragon fantasy that I feel like I grew up on as a kid, and then didn't exist as much in YA, and now this is that classic feeling. Okay, so the rest of these I'm gonna pull out of here in absolutely no order. Except for I'm really impressed by how few of these I actually know about, considering how much I read. So let's just start with one that I do know something about, and that is How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse by Kay Eason. This one is one that I actually recommended to a patron the other day, even though I've never actually read it. Rory Thorne is a princess with 13 fairy blessings, the most important of which is to see through flattery and platitudes. As the eldest child, she always imagined she'd inherit her father's throne and govern the interplanetary Thorne Consortium. Then her father is assassinated, her mom gives birth to a boy, and Rory's betrothed to somebody else. So it's got fairy tales, and it's got sci-fi elements, which is something that I very much enjoy. And it's so funny to see it here after suggesting it to a patron. So clearly I have to read my own suggestion. So this is another author that I'm familiar with. This is The Queen's Assassin by Melissa Dela Cruz. I should mention that Rory Thorne is adult. This one is YA. And Melissa Dela Cruz is an author that I know a lot about, but I've actually never read any of her books. Let's see. Kaladin Holt is the kingdom's deadliest weapon. No one alive can best him in speed, strength, or brains, which is why he's the Hearthstone Guild's most dangerous member. Cal is also the Queen's assassin, bound to her by magic and unable to leave her service until the task she set for him is fulfilled. Okay, I asked for a strong female main character, and I just read something about a dude, but there's also a character named Shadow who has been training to become an assassin, and then she and Cal have to work together. I'm genuinely shocked I've never read this book because Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass is also one of my favorite books, and this has assassins in it, and I haven't read it. That seems sad. This is a really strong contender to go home with me today. So this is really interesting. Someone also gave me a book by Nalini Singh. This is Silver Silence. It's her Psi Changeling Trinity series. Nalini Singh is one of those authors who has just written a bajillion books, and I've actually read some of her Archangel books, but this is a different series. Control, precision, family. These are the principles that drive Silver Mercant. At a time when the fledgling Trinity Accord seeks to unite a divided world, with Silver playing a crucial role as the director of a worldwide emergency response network, wildness and chaos are the last thing she needs in her life. But that's what Valentin Nikolaev, Alpha of the Stonewater, bears with him. So this is an adult romance. It's a little bit more paranormal, urban fantasy than I normally read, but I know that I like Nalini's books, so I might be interested in reading this one. So this is another YA book, and I don't even think I've ever even seen this cover. That seems weird to me. When was this published? So this is Kingdom of Ash and Briars by Hannah West, and again, it is YA. Bristol, an orphaned kitchen maid, lands in a gritty fairy tale gone wrong when she discovers she is a necromancer with a knack for shape-shifting. So this says, building on homages to Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Jane Austen's Emma, and the Chinese legend of Ha Mulan, Hannah West makes a spectacular and wholly original debut. Fascinating. I've never heard of this one. It looks like it has that strong female main character that I was looking for, and people are really going hard on the fairy tale thing, which is not necessarily something I thought would come out of this, but is apparently something people got out of my request form. I guess I did ask, like, Cruel Prince and Sarah J. Maas are fairy tale related, I guess. So this one, I can already tell from the title, is gotta be sci-fi. Do You Dream of Terra 2 by Temi O. A century ago, an astronomer discovered an Earth-like planet orbiting a nearby star. She predicted that one day humans would travel there to build a utopia. Today, 10 astronauts are leaving everything behind to find it. 4 are veterans, 6 are teenagers. It will take them 23 years to get there, locked down in close quarters, and something's gonna go wrong. This one's a little bit more of a stretch for me because I'm not a science fiction person, but I mean, it does sound interesting. But with the science fiction aspect and how good some of the rest of these are, I think I can almost immediately just put this over in the probably not pile. Oh, this is really pretty. The Bird King by G. Willow Wilson. It has this recommendation on the front of it by Les Grossman, who is the author of the Magician's Trilogy, which I really didn't like. So that's a mark against it, but this is, let's see. This is set in 1491 during the reign of the last sultan on the Iberian Peninsula. This wasn't in my recommendations at all, but I do love a good historical fiction as well. The Bird King tells the story of Fatima, a concubine in the royal court of the Sultan, and her dearest friend, the palace mapmaker. Hassan, the mapmaker, has a secret. He can make maps of places he's never been and bend the shape of reality with his pen and paper. So then they have to, like, escape the Inquisition and voyage across Spain. Wow. This is a lot of things. That's crazy. Have I never heard of this book? My coworkers are amazing, guys. So this is Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Galley, and I have wanted to read this one ever since Kat guest starred on Anne's Lunchtime Librarian talking about novellas. It is very short, but just the back of it alone, fight the state, be a librarian. And then the front of it is, are you a coward or are you a librarian? And I don't know if you know this, but I am a librarian, And I find this hysterical. So Esther is a stowaway. She's hidden herself away in the librarian's book wagon in an attempt to escape the marriage her father arranged for her. A marriage to the man who was previously engaged to her best friend. Her best friend who she was in love with. Her best friend who was just executed for the possession of resistance propaganda. The future American Southwest is full of bandits, fascists, and queer librarian spies on horseback trying to do the right thing. They'll bring the fight to you. I almost feel like in a way I have to bring this home because it's about librarians fighting the good fight. And also it's so short. You know, why not, right? But we'll put it in the display here. Oh, so this is another author that I know of, but I've never read this book. This is Anne Leckie's The Raven Tower. I think I know of Anne Leckie though because of her sci-fi stuff. I could be wrong. For centuries, the kingdom of Iridan has been protected by the god known as the Raven. He watches over his territory from atop a tower in the powerful point of Vastai. His will is enacted through the Raven's lease, a human ruler chosen by the god himself. His magic is sustained via the blood sacrifice. Yikes! So, but the power is weakening, a usurper has come, the borders are tested, and into this wanders the warrior Iolo, and Iolo discovers that there is a secret and a dark history. Sounds pretty traditional fantasy, but I know Anne Leckie has won like a ton of awards, so I'm sure it's really good. So this is The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood, and I can't see what this first letter is here, or word is because of the label, but this says assassin and traitor, and once again, people know that I like assassin books. What if you knew how and when you will die? Sorway does. She will climb the mountain, enter the shrine of the unspoken, and gain the most honored title, sacrifice. But on the day of her foretold death, a powerful mage offers her a new fate. Leave with him and live. So then she turns away from her destiny, becomes a thief, a spy, and an assassin, and topples an empire, as one does on a day that ends in Y in a fantasy book. This one clearly has the strong female main character thing that I wanted, so that makes it a really, really strong contender. And last but not least, one more YA book. This is Song of Blood and Stone by Elle Penelope. I also don't know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my favorite author of right now is Alona Andrews, and she's got a blurb on the front cover. This might have to go home with me, just based on that. Between love and duty lies destiny. Orphaned and alone, Jasminda lives in a land where cold whispers of invasion and war linger on the wind. Jasminda herself is an outcast in her homeland of Elsira, where her gift of earth song is feared. When ruthless soldiers seek refuge in her isolated cabin, they bring with them a captive, an injured spy who threatens to steal her heart. I feel like this is like a little bit almost sci-fi-esque, but it's got so many of the other buttons for me that I was looking for that I almost don't care. And this is the amazing thing about having other people pick books for you. If I saw this and I was like, oh, it's got sci-fi, maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't pick it up for myself, but because a librarian I know has gone and looked into it, knowing what I like, I have more faith that this might be a really decent book for me. So this is why you call the library and let us do our thing for you, because I work with so many talented people. All right, so out of 12 books, I have managed to, on the first go, eliminate 3. That is definitely not a good enough number. Okay, so I feel like I'm not going to take home The Raven Tower. It sounds good, but it's just standard fantasy, and there are other books here that hit more of my buttons, so I think I'm going to put this one back in the box. Also, The Bird King seems a little bit more on the literary side for what I'm feeling right now, so we'll put that one back in the box. Back in the box is good for you, because that means you can check it out right now. I am feeling something more fantasy-esque, so I'll put the Nalini Singh back in the box, even though I might return to this series at another time. I can't take home 6 books, right? I'm definitely going to take home Upright Women Wanted. I feel like that is required. I feel like the Assassin book is required because that's just me. And to stretch myself on that, I'll take home The Unspoken Name. I might be taking home 6 books. I'm going to take home A Song of Blood and Stone. And you know what? I'm meant on these 2. Maybe I'll return to them because I've recorded this, but I'm going to put How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse and Kingdom of Ash and Briars back in the box. So, If you would like to put a hold on one of these 4 books, you can go ahead and do that, but they won't be back for a while because I'm reading them. Anything else is here. These are all books from our collection that you could definitely request today. Or maybe fantasy isn't your thing. Maybe the mystery books that Teresa did aren't your thing. But again, I work with so many talented, fantastically knowledgeable people who can do this for you. So just head to our website and use our reading adventure form. Fill out an RA or Reader's Advisory request for books that you like and don't like, and we will fill you a bag of books. Have a great day, guys. Bye.